Hey, what is up, my critical crew? Hello and welcome back to yet another game review. I guess it's more of a game analysis. So today we're going to be going over Mafia Definitive Edition. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. So the very first scene of the game, you are sitting down in a diner, and you're greeted by this officer who is apparently there to collect your statement because you are a snitch. So already the game's starting off great. The game's starting off by saying like, yeah, he couldn't handle the life. Obviously that's not entirely the case. That's an unfair judgment. But the game starts off, you're sitting down, you meet this police detective who's there to collect your statement, and the conversation gets built up more and more and more as time goes on. Now, one thing to definitely take into account is this game is completely shot from a flashback scenario where Tommy Angelo is explaining basically the rise and decline of the Salieri mob. This game might not be for everybody. I will say this game goes to some pretty dark places, so if you have, like, you know, really good constitution, I guess, for lack of a better term, I would not be... I probably wouldn't play this game. The game starts off, you are this small-time cabbie in the middle of, I believe it is San Francisco, and you are just basically trying to make ends meet when a chance encounter leads you down kind of a dark path. This is where you meet Sam and Polly, your brothers, the people who watch your back throughout this entire game. The only friends your character really has. You decide to give them a ride to the Don's place, and from there, everything kinda sinks into place. Even developing a small friendship on the ride there. And that's basically how it goes. The Don comes back, pays his respects, you go about your way, and everything seems fine for the moment. Now, obviously you can't do any good without any bad following, because, you know, it's not that type of game. So you, of course, get beaten up, taken out of your cab, and, well, they try to kill you, but you end up getting away, it would seem. And then you run right back to your friends who decide to help you. And it doesn't pay out too well for good old Dino and Lou. You gotta love being able to pull out a shotgun in the middle of the street. It's a lost start. Yep, that's right. An art. So from there on out, you meet the Don. They offer you a chance to get even. And you blow some shit up. Which is, always fun. Oh, and you get to bash people's heads in with baseball bats. That's a nice addition as well. Oh, and did I mention you get to blow shit up? Blowing shit up's always a lot of fun. Now, one serious issue I have with this game is they introduce a lot of features that you don't actually get to, like, really redo. For example, the race. The race is a fun thing. It's a cool scene, but it never gets done again. Just like the heists. You do them once and that's it.
Tommy.
It would have been cool to have way more stuff like that in the game, but I guess coulda, shoulda, woulda, am I right? But you win the race, the Don is happy, all is well, and the game moves on. Oh boy, does it move on. Which brings me to another complaint I have with this game. This game really likes to throw the family angle in your face, although, in all the time you spend with Sarah, you never really get to know her that well, other than the fact that she's Luigi's daughter. I mean, you basically beat up some bullies, try to hit on her, and defend her, and then she falls in love with you, and that's kind of the end of it, to be honest. Like, she shows up in a few more scenes here and there, but Your wife and your daughter really aren't talked about all that much. Strangely enough, in a game about family. But of course, in mob fashion, somebody screwed with you, so you have to screw with them. And, oh god, do you ever screw with them. Even going as far as to basically just outright cold-blooded murder these boys, all because they macked on your girl. The 1940s were a weird time, a weird year. I mean, the 1930s. Excuse me. It was an even weirder decade. But of course, you wouldn't have a game without any twists and turns, so one of the people obviously survived. The one they did not shoot, they had deemed him dead, and they were wrong. So now he's back, and he's gonna testify, and he's gonna fuck everything up. So what's our first course of action? Lay low, go underground, possibly, you know, come up with a defense. Now we gotta shoot up a church. Let's shoot up a church. Because, I mean, what other options did we have in this scenario? I couldn't think of any. But in all actuality, this is just how things had to be. I mean, they couldn't give up their identities, and they knew the priest wasn't going to give them up, so they were like, okay, let's just do this. Let's shoot up a church. Why not? Now, but of course, with everything running so smoothly, of course we had to have some snitches mixed in with this, right? I mean, more wrong had to happen. But yeah, so the Don's right-hand man basically decides, hey, I don't like doing this shit anymore. I'm tired of this life. And he wants to get out. And he ends up trying to give his books to the feds, and it just... our main character gets sent after him, and shit just starts to hit the fan from there on out. Now, when it comes down to it, our character is also kind of getting tired of the life, and doesn't want to kill his friend, someone who's been nice to him the whole time, who's treated him with respect, who's basically mentored and trained him. So how could he possibly kill him? And in the end, he ends up letting Frank go. Was it the right decision? I guess we'll never really know, but it was the morally right decision. And after that, everything seems to proceed as normal. Frank's funeral happens, the Don shows up, they all have a good cry, and business gets back to normal. They all think he's dead, and everyone seems none the wiser. What's next for our protagonist, you ask? Well, it could be robbing a bank, it could be race. No, we're gonna sneak aboard a cruise ship and shoot somebody in the head with a Glock. Yep. So once again, and this is the one thing that does seem to always happen, is you're constantly assassinating these poor motherfuckers who go against the Dawn, because that's apparently your job. I know you were the driver, but apparently you're also the hitman and the assassin. So, there's that. Not sure if that's how the Mafia already worked, but I mean, hey. I'm not going to pretend to have knowledge on that stuff, you know? So our next course of action in this lovely game is to go after Don Morella himself, one family member at a time, starting off with his brother Sergio, who is apparently the luckiest bastard alive, who seemingly can dodge bullets like Neo, and just, survive anything. He's literally the luckiest bastard alive. Honestly, like, the level he's in is called Lucky Bastard, and he's literally the luckiest bastard alive. This brings us to the next part of the story where shit just takes into the fan, where they decide, well, maybe we can trick him. So they place a car bomb under his vehicle, well, what they think is his vehicle, and this is just, the steady decline just gets steeper and steeper, to the point where now Tommy now has a dead innocent woman on his conscience, which just does not help him when he's already, like, teetering on betraying the Don, and he's loyal, but killing innocents is not what he signed up for. He's not okay with it. He doesn't enjoy it, whereas some of the other members of the Don's family might be okay with it. He knows he fucked up. To the point where he almost screws up the kill, because they're about to take out Sergio, and he can't go through with it because of the innocents in there, and it just, you can tell it fucks with him. You can really tell it screws with his mind. But of course, in the end, he snaps out of it, gets the kill, and wins the Don's respect yet again. as well as the respect of his brothers. Leaving Sergio in, honestly, a pile of cinders on the ground. Although I will say this, you should never light a lighter around a whole bunch of gasoline like that. He would have blown up too, and that made no sense in the continuity of real life. But hey, either way, Big Bad Lucky Man is dead. And it just made no sense how he got out of there. This, of course, means it's time to go after the big man himself, Don Morello. Quite literally chasing a plane with your car and blowing up the engines in order to crash him. They find the Don wounded, bleeding, burning, still alive, just as lucky as his brother, only he's not lucky enough to survive bullets. Ending the saga of Don Morello. Now, what's next for our lovely protagonist, Tommy Angelo? Well, assassinating another politician, of course. Also, this game has us killing a lot of cops. I'm not sure, like, that's not okay. You don't. I get it, it's a game, it's whatever, but, you know, I'm not one of those people that's like, video games breed violence. But, I mean, I killed a lot of cops in this game. I mean, it was kind of crazy, to be honest with you. There were some points in the game that were a legitimate massacre. But, in the end, Tommy always returned home to his family for 30 seconds of, dialogue. In the next part of the game, the Don sends you out on a little recovery mission. You're supposed to go retrieve some diamonds and some cigars. It's supposed to be, like, not really easy, but nothing big time. And they even point out the fact that it's small time when they're talking about it, but this is also when they realize the Don is smuggling dope into their city, which a lot of them don't agree with. They're very unhappy about it. They're unhappy that they weren't cut in. They're unhappy that they weren't told about it, and they're unhappy that this man who had seemed to never stand for such garbage has begun to stand for such garbage. So they lose respect for the Don at this point in time, I'd say. So due to their loss of respect, they've decided to take things into their own hands and hit up a bank. Now, they weren't ready to hit up a bank, let's get that straight right now, but they make it work. They get through it, and everything seems like it's going well. They seem like they're on top. Like they finally found what they were looking for. Like they finally found their place. Too bad it all comes crumbling down. Because after all, you can't step out on the Don. That's just not okay. And when you do step out on the Don steps out on you. So what would any reasonable man do in this situation? Well, they'd contact a friend, correct? But sometimes you're just on your own. So you fight through Sam's boys, you reach Sam, you have one of the best firefights and encounters in the entirety of the game, and that's pretty much it. I will say that this is also a very sad turning point, because you realize that not only did Frank end up getting murdered because you helped him escape, but also every other person that you went out of your way to disobey the Don and help live was all killed later on by Sam and the Don. Which is sad, but that's just the way the story goes, I guess. Blood for blood and all that. And this is the point where you go and the next part is you go and you sit down with the detective, you sell out Salieri, and it would appear you go into witness protection after doing a short stay in prison. You put the Don and the rest of the family away, and you yourself even do a stay in prison. Leading up to the first ever time you actually get to see his daughter in the entirety of the game. This daughter that is like his reason for living shows up for the first time in the entire game, because the first time we see her is her wedding and he's in witness protection. But of course, you can only stay protected for so long. And Salieri catches up with him, and that's just how the life goes. His family's safe, and Salieri got his revenge. It's a sad ending if you think about it, but he did what he wanted to do. He protected his family. All in all, I would say that this was a good game. I mean, I would definitely recommend going out and buying it. It's a good definitive edition. Like, unlike the disaster that was Mafia 2, and even worse, Mafia 3, I would 100% say this game is worth your money, worth buying. And it honestly was a really fun experience. Like, yeah, there's a lot of holes in the story, and I might not agree too much with the ending and how it all shook down, but 100%. If you can get this game, because we need more remasters like this that aren't just half-assed, that actually remaster the game and not just crap all over it. I give this game, well, I definitely would say I give this game about an 8 out of 10. It was a fun time. I wanted to play it. A lot of games that just do not hold my interest anymore. This game held my interest. So, I would highly recommend it. I give this game an 8 out of 10 and a passing score. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment on the video, like the video if you're new, and subscribe to the channel. Oh, don't forget to hit the video. Don't forget to hit the bell to stay notified for when I upload. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.